Leo's Bouncy Dream. Leo was a tiny cat with enormous dreams. He didn't dream of chasing mice or napping in sunbeams. Leo dreamed of the spotlight, of velvet curtains, and of dancing, 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 dancing. Every morning, before the dew dried on the window pane, Leo practiced. He stretched his paws until they tingled, and he twirled until he felt dizzy. His movements weren't neat like the famous dancers he saw on posters. They were bouncy and full of joyful, wobbly energy. Leo had enrolled at the Pas de Deux dance studio, run by a very elegant fox named Rondo. Rondo understood that sometimes the wildest dreams needed the gentlest guidance. "Leo, my dear," Rondo would say kindly, "your spirit is a dazzling star, but perhaps we could practice those pliés a bit lower." Leo tried, but his unique style, part joyful bounce, part speedy tap, always crept back in. The studio announced the annual Grand Showcase, a chance to perform on the biggest stage in town. Rondo beamed. Leo's stomach did a triple somersault. He wanted to dance so badly, but the thought of so many eyes watching made his whiskers droop with shyness. For days, Leo practiced in secret, behind the curtains backstage. He worked on a routine that was purely Leo. Fast, unexpected leaps, tiny paw taps, and huge sweeping spins that defied gravity. On the night of the showcase, the air crackled with excitement. Leo watched the other dancers, the graceful swans, the powerful bears, and his heart thumped like a drum. Rondo found him hiding near the costume racks. "Leo," Rondo whispered, kneeling down. "Tonight, do not try to be a swan or a bear. Be Leo. Your bounce is special. Your spirit is music." Rondo gave him a gentle nudge toward the stage entrance. When his name was called, Leo took a deep breath. The stage lights were blinding, the crowd a blurry sea of faces. But then, the music started, a quick, bouncy jig, and Leo forgot the crowd. He danced his unique dance. He bounced higher than anyone thought possible. He tapped his paws so quickly, they sounded like rain on a window pane. The crowd gasped, then cheered, then stood up roaring. Leo had wowed them, not by being perfect, but by being perfectly, wonderfully himself. Zen's sunny silence. The clock hasn't chimed, but the light is starting to turn soft gold. Deep inside his cozy basket, Zen the fluffy cat opens one green eye. It is time for his favorite routine. Zen slides out of his bed. First, he must stretch, long and slow. "Rouse, stretch," he whispers, pushing his paws far out in front of him, tail high in the air. The rest of the house is quiet, quiet, quiet. The grown-ups are still sleeping. The floorboards don't even creak. Zen pads silently, looking for the warmest spot in the world. Ah, there it is. A perfect square of morning sun, streaming in through the glass door and landing right on the rug. It is warm like a hug. This is Zen's spot. Zen sits down gently in the middle of the sunshine. He closes his eyes almost all the way, leaving just tiny slits to watch the light flicker golden and bright. Now, it is time to breathe. Zen takes a very slow breath in. Sniff, sniff, sniff. He smells the dust motes dancing, the fresh morning air, and yesterday's tuna treat. Then, he breathes slowly out. His chest rises and falls, and a tiny, quiet rumble begins deep in his throat. That is the sound of peace. Zen stays perfectly still. He listens to the silence. He hears the faraway whoosh of a car, the drip-drip of the kitchen tap, and the happy thump of his own calm heart. He is warm and quiet and safe. The sun moves a tiny bit, warming his ear and then his shoulder. Zen smiles, a tiny cat smile, knowing this moment belongs only to him. Soon, the house will wake up. Soon, there will be footsteps and breakfast smells, and loud, happy sounds. But Zen has found his quiet center, and he is ready for the day. Minx and the Sunspot Slugger. Minx was not like other cats. She didn't just nap in sunbeams or chase dust bunnies. Minx was an explorer. Her favorite territory was the tall, wild part of the backyard, right near the shed. One adventurous afternoon, while investigating a particularly interesting patch of clover, Minx heard a soft, scraping sound. SSSS's slip. She peeked through the leaves and saw him, Basil the snake. Basil was long and thick and looked quite pleased with himself, coiled neatly on a smooth garden stone. "Well, look who it is," Basil hissed smoothly, flicking his tongue. "The fluffy thing? Don't you know this is my sunspot?" Minx knew she couldn't win with muscle. Basil was too big, too fast when he needed to be, and all that coiling looked very sturdy. Brute force was a bad idea. "I need my thinking cap," she whispered to herself. She scanned the garden. There was a stack of crunchy autumn leaves, a wobbly hose, and a shiny metal bucket left upside down next to the faucet. Perfect. Minx had a plan, and it was a sneaky one. Her first move was distraction. Swish! Minx flicked her tail quickly, knocking a big, dry oak leaf directly onto Basil's nose. Basil jerked his head up, furious. "A leaf? Are you playing games?" he roared, in a snake sort of way. Next, Minx zipped around behind him, making sure to bump the loose garden hose. The rubber tube wobbled and began slowly rolling down the small slope, hitting the side of the shed with a thwump. Basil was completely confused. First a leaf, now a runaway hose that was making loud noises. He started to wrap himself into a tight defensive ball, trying to keep track of all the weird things happening at once. Now for the grand finale. Minx crept silently towards the upside-down metal bucket. She gave it a careful, calculated nudge with her shoulder, tipping the bucket over. It was full of the last night's rainwater. SPLOOSH. Basil was soaked, sputtering, and thoroughly defeated by the wet shock. He slithered away quickly, muttering about unfair weather and strange cats. Minx didn't use claws or sharp teeth. She used her clever brain. She settled down right in the warm sunspot, the undisputed, smartest champion of the backyard. Operation Boop the Bumpy Rope. Flicker the cat woke up feeling bouncy. "I need an adventure," he chirped. "A grand, wiggly adventure." Flicker tiptoed into the garden. He looked behind the tomato bush. He peeped under the watering can. Everything was too still. Then, Flicker saw it. Coiled neatly by the stone wall was a long, bumpy, striped thing. It looked like a perfect target. "Aha!" whispered Flicker, wiggling his bottom. "I shall call this operation Boop the Bumpy Rope." He prepared his mighty front paw. Tap. Flicker gave the striped thing a quick, gentle boop. The striped thing didn't feel like a rope at all. It felt soft. Slowly, the striped thing uncurled, stretching out long and smooth. It wasn't a rope. It was Slink, a friendly snake. "Oh, hello," said Slink, wiggling her tongue just a little. "Thank you for the tap. Did you want to play Follow the Wiggle?" Flicker blinked. He had planned an attack, but now he was being invited to play. "Is that like Chase the Tail?" he asked. Slink laughed a quiet, smooth laugh. "Even better. You chase my tail, and I'll chase the sunshine." And off they went, curving and dashing through the daisies. Flicker learned that day that sometimes the things you think you should attack are actually just new friends waiting to wiggle with you.